Right now in my nation and in nations around the world, adult content is being introduced as part of school curriculum, and it's being encouraged. I've read some of the books and articles. It's adult content, like, and not just like, oh, two people fall in love and made love. No, it's like hardcore incest. I just read one where the scenario is that there is a father who's like a lawyer or something, and he comes home to his twin girls and they're basically wanking him off. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I couldn't believe that this is going inside of libraries and public libraries and school systems, and that it's all being done under the disguise of inclusivity, and that there's this pleasure-based curriculum that's being pushed. But I'm going to share with you how dangerous this is. Think about what happens when we're growing up. Whatever from the theory of a mind states, from the age of 0 to 8, we accept everything as normal. So think about someone who's growing up in an abusive scenario. Maybe dad hits mom. Well, we know that statistically the chances of that young man growing up in that kind of environment takes on those tendencies, because in his head it's normal. It's wired in his brain to react in that way. I'm going to share with you in this video why we need to be very, very careful about introducing adult content and adult concepts into our school systems, and ultimately why we should be expelling this stuff from our society, how detrimental it is. Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Nakula, and I help men master their S3X energy so you can be a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom, which is all about being the best version of yourself for you, your family, and the world at large. Go to the link in the description below. Take the free S3X transmutation guide, which will help you transmute those urges and those negative patterns that you may have developed around your S3X, and be able to transform it into a positive, healthy expression. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, from the ages of 0 to 8, we accept everything as normal. So if we're being introduced to concepts like incest at a very young age, then ultimately we can't discern as kids whether that is something we want to engage in or not, whether we don't have the discriminatory factor. The discriminatory factor doesn't mean discrimination. It means the ability to discern whether something is actually healthy or not. Kids do not have that ability. We haven't developed into having critical thinking yet. So what happens is when these concepts are being introduced, it is being introduced at such young ages that the kids growing up are going to think that's normal. I mean, I know people that they are like, oh yeah, my dad watched adult content growing up. So why would they think it's not normal for them to do that? My parents behaved in this way, so now I'm going to behave in this way. And how healthy is that? Think about that for a second. Like, really contemplate that and be like, what is the example that we're setting, and what is the challenge with that example? The challenge is it removes the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of S3X. I mean, we're not just robots that are just like, oh, I need to get off. That doesn't have a consequence. Think about when you have S3X with someone, or when you engage in that activity, you are starting to bond with them, because your body releases chemicals, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, that bonds you and develops feelings for that individual that you are interacting with. And because you're bonding with them, you're also taking on their energy. You're taking on their karma, meaning you're taking on their life. So right now we have a culture where people are hooking up with so many different people, and really it's called trauma bonds, meaning one person who's got trauma is attracted to another person who's got trauma, and they're bonding with each other because subconsciously they don't realize that what they're trying to do is fulfill each other's trauma. Can you please help me? Can you please validate me? Can you please make me feel a certain way? Ooh, I get some good feelings. I get some tingly feelings. I feel desired. I feel loved. I feel sexy. So therefore, I'm going to hook up with this person. But what we don't realize is that the more people that we're actually engaging with, the more bonds we're creating and the more we're confused we're getting. Why do you think so many people have a hard time staying in relationship? 1 divorce, 2 divorced. Like, how many divorces do you need before you recognize, hey, like, maybe there's something that needs to change, not about the world, but about you. But that's the type of society we're creating with this adult content culture, with this promiscuity, and now our own schools are actually pushing it. That's how insane this world has become. And it's up to us men to stand up and say enough is enough, because guys, whether you want to know this or not, we can stop it. If men say no more, it's done. It's done. If we all as men collectively said, we're done. We're not going to treat women that way. We're not going to treat ourselves that way. We want of course we want S3X. There's nothing wrong with wanting S3X. It's when you want to do it in a deceitful way, or it's when you want to do it in a way that removes the responsibility. And that's what this is teaching. It's teaching S3X without responsibility. And it doesn't exist. It's a fantasy. It is not reality. And that is the challenge with this type of content being introduced in such a young age. You are setting a standard in which you are setting kids up for failure. I know I wasn't introduced to adult content till I was already in, high school. High school is when I really started watching adult content, and then it got worse in college. And then it kind of just stuck with me for a long time, thinking it was normal because literally everybody was doing it around me. Like, we would even talk about it. Oh yeah, what you got today? Oh shit, right? Oh, look at this, look at this. Well, that starts to wire your subconscious mind. Next thing you know, you're desiring certain fantasies. Next thing you know, you're having these thoughts. You guys, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where you're like, why am I thinking this? Why is this image flashing in my head at this time? Because that's what's in there. And the more that you watch and the more that it's fed, the more it becomes normalized. And you don't realize that's what's causing so many problems. So many people have suffered from hormonal issues, causing depression, anxiety, social anxiety, all kinds of problems, not recognizing that it's the adult content they've been exposed to. Now, personally, call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I don't think it's a conspiracy at all because it's been done in history before. It's documented. But I think it's being done on purpose. I think it's purposely being done to weaken the society. There is a theory that says if I want to change the society, first I must break the society. That's what's happening right now. We are literally being attacked and trying to be broken. The breakdown of society happens at the breakdown of the family core. When men no longer desire to be great husbands and fathers and providers and protectors, and when women aren't interested in that either. How many women are no longer interested in babies? They're no longer interested in being in relationships. So now we have a society full of individual thinkers. This is the biggest problem with introducing this adult content at such a young age. It is wiring our children, first of all, to be groomed because they're going to think it's normal. It's disgusting. Can you imagine a child? Like, again, I was reading this one book. It says it was appropriate from the ages, I believe, from 12 to 17. Do you imagine a 12-year-old reading a book about incest? And then what happens when dad comes home and maybe wants to do that? They won't see it as bad. When the teacher says, hey, I need to see you in private and talk about this, and something happens, they're normalizing it. They're normalizing, I don't even want to say the word, but you know what it is. It's when you mess around with children. It's sick. There is a hard damage, meaning a physical damage. It's hardwired into the brain as neural pathways. It weakens the family core. It weakens us as society. and it takes away us from spiritual consciousness. And it causes so much damage. So much pain is caused because of the misuse of our S3X energy. You know, I grew up Catholic. I don't represent any particular religion. You know, people are, aren't you a Hare Krishna? Aren't you a Christian? Aren't you? Look, I'm part and parcel of God, as you are. Call me whatever you want. I don't care the label. The fact remains is I'm part of God, and so are you. And God means the collective consciousness, the everything. There's no separating you and God. So I don't care what your religion is, whatever you call yourself. I don't care. I don't represent a religion. I simply want to bring out education on why S3X is damaging for our spiritual life. And spiritual life means our inner worlds. Our inner world, which is connected to everything. As it is within, so it is without. What is done in the dark will come to light. What you are holding on inside will eventually manifest itself. Can't escape that. So when we are pouring in all of this perverted material into our children, well, that's going to manifest, and it's going to manifest as chaos. And that's what some folks in this world want right now. They want to drive the world to chaos, because when there's chaos, they can present themselves as the savior, and they could say, I have the solution. And you know what they're going to present? Total control, authoritarian governments, authoritarianism. And we can see that already being born. It's being born in my country of Canada right now, and it's being born all over the world. And the massive weapon that's being used is indoctrination of our children. And it's being coupled with this adult content. Remember the saying, right? If it's free, you're the product. Why do you think that all of this content is made for free? It's because you're the product. Your attention is the product. Your energy is the product. And you're being duped into thinking that this is what life is about. Listen, this is a very deep topic. I plan on actually doing live talks. I'm writing a keynote speech right now on this very topic. So if you're interested in helping me get this message out there, please reach out. I'm looking for opportunities to actually deliver this speech publicly, because it's great to do this online. But the fact is that we have a big problem with censorship and a big problem with algorithm biases. So what we need is people to actually come together in real life. So we can use online methods to connect, but we have to take this offline. We have to get back into the streets, into the schools. We have to take back, as conscious men, we have to take back the levers of our society and drive this evil ideology out of our society. It will be the greatest gift that you can give to humanity if you decide, I'm going to take action and actually stand up and be brave enough to stand up against this grooming and a promiscuous culture that's being promoted. And let's get back to my favorite 3 F's: faith, family, freedom. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel. Please follow this journey. Subscribe to my email list, because I'm going to be keeping you up to date. We've got live events coming out, and I would love to see you there. I'd love for you to be part of it. I'd love to have you part of our movement as the Powerhouse Man community, in which all the guys are working towards a more just a better life, a more spiritual life. And if the word spiritual scares you, just a more grounded, loving life. This directly impacts your physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. And it's our duty. It's our duty as men to provide and to protect. We're supposed to be the warriors. And when evil comes, we're supposed to stand and fight. That's nature's or God's calling. And that calling is here and now. I'm taking up that responsibility. I hope you'll join me. Please reach out and connect. I'd love to organize something with you. And of course, it all starts with you. It all starts at home. Like I have to work on it myself. I'm not sitting here like because I'm a saint or innocent of this. I've been involved with all of that crap, adult content and hookup culture and all that bullshit. And I've felt the pain of it. I've caused pain and felt the pain of it. So it needs to stop. I'll see you on the next video.